It's been a heck of a few days for the folks in the media, and personally, I couldn't be less surprised. First, the good folks over at the Jeff Bezos corporate propaganda machine, known as the Washington Post, just put out this story. 4 progressive teachers in Washington's Mukilteo School District wanted to protect students from a book they saw as outdated and harmful. The blowback was fierce. The book, in case you were curious, was the literary classic by Harper Lee, To Kill a Mockingbird. Now, they run this story just days, mind you, after coming off of a media meth high as they were railing against conservatives for their efforts to ban books. The New York Times, a fast-growing network of conservative groups, is fueling a surge in book bans. NBC, conservative activists want to ban 400 books from a library. The New Republic, conservatives are trying to ban books in your town. Librarians are fighting back. They're fighting back, storming the teen fiction section. The LA Times, book bans are on the rise in U.S. schools, fueled by new laws in Republican-led states. Now, actually, that LA Times story is a good one to take notice of, because if you look at the accompanying picture, you'll see that one of these books that conservatives have sought to remove from elementary schools is called Gender Queer. To put it mildly, this is no To Kill a Mockingbird. It's gross. It's gay porn, is what it is. I'd read a few passages to prove it, but it wouldn't make it past the social media filters, which should be telling you something. But here's the deal. Those conservative book bans aren't bans at all. Here's what conservatives have said. If you want to go and read gay porn, go to Amazon and buy the book. There's no ban. But if you're wanting it out there next to The Cat in the Hat for the second graders,
it's definitely a no for me, dog.
So now, go back and look at that Washington Post lead. Notice how the progressive teachers are trying to protect students. This is just too good, man. When the left wants to restrict access to an important work of literature, well, don't get mad. They're just protecting kids. But when the right wants to restrict access in an elementary school library to gay porn, well, they're banning books. You know, I just can't imagine why the media is regarded as such a joke these days. And then, as if that wasn't enough, that same media has continued their all-out jihad, holy war against the new Speaker of the House of Representatives, Mike Johnson. Rolling Stone is currently freaking out because apparently Mike and his son provided personal accountability to one another to keep each other off of pornography. And then came this jewel from the MSNBC partisan analyst that CBS puts on television as a pretend late-night comedian.
Mike Johnson is Speaker of the House, and his record on LGBTQ issues is, what's the word, awful. So how do you work with a guy who argued that same-sex relations are, quote, the dark harbinger of chaos and sexual anarchy that could doom even the strongest republic?
You gotta love that framing. How can you work with someone who thinks differently than you? It's just not right. You know, we for years have heard that progressives prattle on about their tolerance and their free speech and civil liberties. But if you haven't noticed, they don't want you on their campus. They don't want your books to be published. They don't want you in office. They don't want you employed unless you believe like them. It should be abundantly clear to anyone even on the verge of paying attention, that the left's commitment to things like civil liberties extend only to people who believe as they do, which means, for those of you keeping track at home, they don't really believe in them at all.